gives us immense pleasure after 2 days of intense intellectual stimulation with lots of tracks and this intellectuals and academicians joining from all over the world. Uh, Actually, we had participation, whether track chairs, whether keynote speakers, whether presenters, participants from 5 continents. It's a
Wow.
great pleasure. So we had from Asia, we had from Australia, we had from Europe, we had from Africa, and also from the Americas, the United States. So in the very first edition of ICBIT 2020, we could touch 5 continents. So we are thankful to MDIM, MDI Murshidabad management. I am thankful to Dr. Professor Atmanand sir, our director, as patron. The way he has motivated, it's all because of his blessings. Now, without more ado, so I'll introduce our chief guest for this valedictory ceremony, Dr. Jayavant Singh from Southampton Business School, University of Southampton, UK. So Dr. Jayavant Singh is Professor of Marketing at the Department of Digital and Data-Driven Marketing at Southampton Business School, University of Southampton, United Kingdom. Professor Singh's research and publication are in the areas of consumer behavior and branding. His research focuses on why and how people consume goods and services using theories from social and experimental psychology, mathematical and structural models. He examines the above through the lenses of brand management, ethical consumption, and service management. Professor Singh has co-authored a popular textbook on consumer behavior, that is Consumer Behavior Applications in Marketing, 3rd edition, Sage 2017, and has co-edited a book on contemporary issues in brand management of Routledge publication in 2016. His research has won several awards and has been published in top-tier international journals. He has contributed chapters in edited books, published business case studies, and his research-based output and quotes often appear in the business press. He sits on the editorial review board of the Journal of Advertising Research. Professor Singh is a frequent speaker at research seminars, international conferences, and has given keynotes in the UK, Sweden, India, and Australia. So with these words, I request our respected guest today evening, Dr. Jayavant Singh, to give his address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Souvik. Such a wonderful welcome and warm welcome. I'm really grateful. I'm very pleased to be here today. Thank you for your kind invitation. And before I start talking about the topic area, I'm very happy to note the great enthusiasm of the MDIM faculty in organizing this conference. I was contacted a long time ago, so I can imagine the work that has gone behind this 2-day event. And this is all despite the doom and gloom surrounding us. So well done to the team. And especially as academics, it's our duty to ensure that education should not stop, especially in the current environment. We must find ways to continue delivering good quality education, engaging with research, and disseminating knowledge. And this is truly a testimony to the values that your institution holds. I think you're doing a wonderful job. So I feel in some ways privileged to be part of your story, if you allow me to say that. And congratulations again on this very special achievement of getting people from all around the world. Although we are all sitting in our homes, but we are participating with equal enthusiasm. And I'm sure looking back, you will be very proud of holding this event. Right. Let's focus our attention to something that is has been around us for a while now. And from a business perspective, the economic crisis has led to several challenges faced by the businesses. And one of the challenges is that of what to do about corporate social responsibility. And as we know, CSR or corporate social responsibility has been recognized as a key driver of firm success. There's large-scale empirical research available on that, and it's widely adopted by corporates around the world. And there are obvious benefits, proven benefits. Consumers form image of the firm. So CSR activities help cultivate customer asset, reputation management amongst the stakeholders, even firm performance. And I am going to talk about how firms should go about, or how firms can achieve CSR objectives during this crisis. So this is what the focus of my talk is for today. But before we go into the details, let's consider the context. So on one hand, businesses today face the question of whether to withdraw, to maintain, or even expand their socially responsible activities. So social purpose ahead of profit, supporting societal needs, etc., obviously makes sense when revenues are coming in and times are good. Companies now face the difficult question of how to stick to those principles. When the economy is going down, what should they do? On the other hand, that's a business perspective. On the other hand, this health crisis is bringing a host of social issues or problems with it. It's not just a health issue. It's leading to several problems, including food insecurity, unemployment, challenges relating to education, mental health, domestic violence, you name it. The problems can be linked to this lockdown and economic downturn. So, in a word, the need of the vulnerable have become even more an urgent priority. And when businesses have been contributing to the society's welfare, so what should we, how should the businesses now address these new challenges according to their CSR agenda? Several companies are doing things which are commendable, but not yet every company is rising to the challenge. And there might be mental block, or they might not have tools to do it. What is the way forward? It's clearly not a time to continue with CSR as usual. And we have seen that in many countries, including India, the tendency is to donate money to a central relief fund and wash your hands off. So it's kind of tick boxing exercise. We have done our bit and now we are okay. I think that in the rush to contribute, businesses need to carefully assess how their resources and capabilities can be appropriately deployed to respond to this emergency. And I think taking a step back and devising some thoughtful and innovative business models that helps to deal with the crisis can yield better outcomes, for both the parties, the society and the businesses. So this is where my proposition is located. So I think having a higher social purpose is relevant now, more than ever before. It's almost like a war-like situation. It's a great deal of uncertainty. There is one single social cause right now, the fight against the pandemic and the resultant problems. So my proposition is that companies should stand by their purpose, social purpose, obviously within their means, and engage in what I call crisis-focused CSR. So all their CSR activities should be specifically aimed currently at addressing the societal crisis that we are faced with. So the story begins, back in March, April, and several companies joined the race to, get into new initiatives to help the crisis. So the question that came to my mind, that what's going on, especially in the initial months, April, May, every single day you will read reports about several companies doing this or that. Companies which are not related into PPE kits, suddenly they are trying to procure PPE kits or masks. So all kinds of activities were going on. So I started talking to several CSR managers and business leaders, and it emerged that there wasn't any template, or there is no sort of long-term vision that they're just jumping into the fray because everybody else is doing that. We should not be left behind. What we started, I mean, it's not an individual endeavor. I got my research team together and we started looking, reviewing the real life initiatives that companies are doing around the world. So we started collecting all the information. And these were, this was the time of the absolute lockdown, when we had little else to do but to stay home and be in front of our computer screens. So we got a lot of information from the internet about what company is doing what kind of activities, and it was a mixed bag, and and we're struggling to make sense of it. And suddenly it occurred to us that it's possible to cluster these activities into different groups. And that was the sort of aha moment. And we found that we could easily cluster the activities into 4 different groups. And those were philanthropic CSR, core business CSR, peripheral business CSR, and the 4th one is social innovation CSR. I'll just briefly talk about these and with some examples. So the most popular form of CSR, during the pandemic, right from the beginning, is philanthropic. So it's donation, basically, in some form or the other, working equipment, raw materials, whatever is required. So Pfizer in India donated 40,000 N95 masks to healthcare workers right in the beginning, ventilators to hospitals, food packets through NGOs. Similarly, BMW, the car manufacturer, donated 100,000 masks. All these big numbers, very impressive. But it's like a one-off ad hoc activity, right? A chemical company like Henkel was donating 50,000 liters of disinfectant to the hospitals. So that's the philanthropic cluster we found popular. We also found another cluster called, we called it the terms, we coined the terms core business aligned CSR. So a core business operation can be retargeted to a market such as medical supply market to help address the crisis. So I'll give you an example here. Burberry, which is a very well-known clothing brand, and they started off more than 150 years ago making trench coats, and they converted with a great deal of fanfare and announcement that they're converting their coat manufacturing plant in Castleford to produce medical gowns for frontline staff. So they already had the know-how of creating gowns, and that's their core business. And that was easily aligned to get involved in this CSR activity. Now that was wonderful. Several examples we found. Oracle, for example, started providing free access to their workforce health and safety solution to their current clients to help them manage key health and safety issues at the workplace. So a lot of these core business aligned CSR activities were also happening. The third one was peripheral, slightly outside the zone where the companies were operating. And there were a small group of companies, but quite significant. Some examples, striking examples, were McLaren, for example, the racing car brand. They partnered with the University of London to manufacture a newly developed mask for COVID patients. Similarly, IHG Group, the hotel chain, they started working with their food suppliers to ensure food deliveries at home for the vulnerable. So they were in the hospitality business, and they took on something which was related. So we called it peripheral business aligned CSR. And finally, the fourth one was the social innovation CSR, a smaller group of companies, but there were significant numbers, enough to be included in this group. So social innovations these are social problems. It's a very popular business strategy last 5-10 years. They provide effective, efficient, and sustainable solutions and the value that is created accrues primarily to the society as a whole rather than private individuals or corporations. Now, so there are several examples here. Bosch, the home appliances manufacturer, started making cartridge for corona tests. Again, Oracle built and donated to the US government a COVID-19 therapeutic learning system, allowing physicians and patients to record the effectiveness of the drug therapies that they were trialing or testing. So several these kind of social innovation related CSR activities also started happening. What we were able to do after that, what did we do with these 4 clusters? We dug deeper a little bit, and then we found that we could also relate this with the risk involved or the investments involved. So core business aligned CSR, the example of Burberry, and social innovation CSR. The biggest benefit was that these were, we can see these as strategic orientation, the with long-term benefits. So for example, in a core business aligned CSR, they can create the new products that they are doing now, and that can become part of their product offering later on. But the risks are higher because there is more investment required. Whereas for the philanthropic and peripheral business aligned CSR, the risks and resources are lower. So we were able to sort of see what are the benefits and drawbacks, on a sort of continuum. We can put these 4 types of activities to analyze and come up with some recommendations. But before going into the recommendations, we, as academic researchers, we want to sort of ground our research into well-established theories. So we found several theories that helps us to understand what would be the potential benefits for these activities. And we can again categorize these according to the 4 clusters we came up with. But one example is enhanced corporate image. So the pandemic offers an unprecedented opportunity for companies to muster their resources and respond to societal needs in creative ways. And companies engaging in this crisis response will benefit by signaling socially responsible intentions, which will lead to strengthened corporate image in the long term. And this comes from signaling theory, well-known signaling theory from economics. We also found, there is a lot of CSR skepticism in general, population. People are not wanting to believe, and terms like CSR initiatives have been accused of what we call greenwashing. It's just for ticking the box, and that's about it. Despite that, companies have been investing in some form of CSR. So it's a pervasive issue in stakeholders' evaluation of companies as socially responsible endeavors. So this is where crisis-focused CSR activities can help companies to reduce this skepticism, because this will have much more greater impact on the society, on the stakeholders, and people will see the company in a positive light, and that might mitigate or diminish skepticism inherent to corporates' involvement with engagement in CSR. Similarly, we found that the benefits also can be increased stakeholder trust, both internally and externally. Research has suggested that if the company is doing socially responsible activities, then employees has higher morale and satisfaction and a result performance. So internally as well as externally, the stakeholder trust can be enhanced. And of course, greater reputation, especially for social innovation focused CSR or core business focused CSR. Those companies can reap reputation in the longer term if they come up with new solutions. So these are the benefits. And what should companies do now? My final bit, and then I will stop. We came up with 4 clear directions. What's first and foremost, if the resources allow, companies must act now. They must get proactively involved in purpose-led response to the pandemic, and specifically in areas that they can. And secondly, they should identify, companies could identify their strengths. What are their core strengths or peripheral strengths? And match a crisis-focused CSR response. So for example, large IT company could support companies or businesses in customer service, for example, high volume calls from the public, supermarkets, public government offices responsible for public health emergencies. And they can come up with AI-enabled technology that can boost customer service efficiencies. So that's a very obvious way to branch out into this kind of a CSR activity, rather than just giving 10 crore rupees into the relief fund. That will have much benefit, much longer term benefit accruing to the company. We also suggest companies should create innovations for social good. So a very simple example, a company dealing with plastic, say for example, a toy manufacturer, they can easily start creating visors which require the same material and start donating visors to the organizations or wherever it's needed. And that is much more focused and directed than, again, donating a sum of money or procuring the visors from somewhere else and donating it to the for the purpose. And finally, we also recommend that companies should join hands for the greater good, as we say. So form alliances with a social cause relevant to the crisis. So a food sector brand, for example, can easily tie up with a not-for-profit charitable organization providing meals that provides meals to the homeless or needy school children. Again, IT companies can provide educational platforms which are functional and well supported to support the education of the children and adults as well. So there are several things companies can do, and if they are able to do it in a more directed CSR focus, crisis-focused CSR, picking up a problem that this pandemic has created, that will accrue more longer-term trust, reputation, and other benefits associated with CSR in this, once the pandemic is over. On that note, positive note, I'm sure a lot of companies are doing this, but hopefully this will provide some more directions. We are developing this work further. So thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the discourse.
Yes. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot, Dr. Jayawant, sir. We are indeed grateful for your it's a field-based research that you brought to us. Right? So in a post-pandemic scenario, nothing can be better. Yeah. It gels exactly with the conference theme.
Yes.
So from a Western country, you are bringing something as to the researchers over here. Thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah, very well.
So after this, I will request Dr. Bikramjit Pal to introduce our guest of honor, Dr. Dilip Kumar Mohanachandran, and take the program ahead. Dr. Bikramjit.
Good evening, all. Thank you, Dr. Souvik Banerjee. So let me introduce our guest of honor today, Dr. Dilip Kumar. Kumar is a full professor at Business School, Mohammed VI Polytechnic University, Morocco. He is having 18 years of experience in teaching, academic administration, training, research, and consultancy. He has worked at many prestigious institutes in India and abroad, like Barjaya University College, Malaysia, University Utara, Malaysia, Ministry of Higher Education, Sultanate of Oman, Symbiosis Center for Management and HRD, India. With a double postgraduate in Human Resource Management, MPhil in Labor Studies, and doctorate in organizational behavior, he has written 8 books, 3 monographs, 80 short case studies in the area of HR and OB, 165 international and national peer-reviewed journal publications, and 56 online publications. He has presented 60 papers in international and national conferences and the papers published in conference proceedings. He chaired various international and national conferences all over the world. He is the editor of Qualitative Quantitative Research Review, Malaysia, Journal of Business Management, Serial Publications, New Delhi. He is the editorial member of Partakina Journal of Social Sciences and Humanities, the editorial member of several international journals. He worked as a corporate trainer in the areas of attitude development, effective habit management, goal setting and career development, transaction analysis, work culture through HR initiatives, stress management, business ethics, team building, motivation, and leadership. Having the professional expertise of more than 18 years in institution building, teaching, training, research, and consultancy, he has contributed substantially to academic and corporate services. Please welcome Dr. Dilip Kumar. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Vikramji. Thank you, everybody. Once again, being with you as a speaker, short one. My limit of the seconds or the time limited to maximum 10 minutes. So I try to come up with a short message rather than a big message which I can give it to you today. But let me tell you, the International Conference on Business IT and Enterprise Architecture, actually I'm going through that phase in Morocco. I'm working in Morocco now. So being a consultant of this industry, you have to see the change. It's a company called OCP. It's a big group and they have their own university. And in that university, they are trying to build up absolute research university, innovation, enterprise architecture, and likewise, they try to integrate it. But when I joined last year, 2019, September, a lot of plans, extreme level of plans, with the support of digital architecture, digital transformation policies, and likewise. But they don't understand the employees of the organization never accepted that digitalization change or any kind of uncertainty. They tried to preserve their job and they believe that the automation can create a lot of issues connected to their job. There will be a lot of retrenchment. And they never think of how it is going to work out this, what you would say, the new operating models of technology integration. So the technology adoption was one of the major crises faced by this number one company in the world on phosphate rock and acid. It's called OCP Morocco. They have the major that means the stock and the shares in the company, entire world exactly connected. So the change exactly pre-COVID and the post-COVID scenario, when you look upon that, the pre-COVID scenario, everything was tough integration of technology. They don't want to accept it. High resistance to change. But when you look upon the post-COVID scenario, everything is opportunity. And I go to know, being a consultant of that company on human resource and change management policies, I come to know it's easy for me to implement the technology integration in comparison with the pre-COVID period. People, around 60% of the people of that company working at home, and it's effectively coordinating a very high risk components or the products like sulfuric acid or the kind of phosphates or what you would say fertilizers and the rocks, and likewise amazingly working. Means that your presence is not required for many of the jobs and your presence is still required for some of the jobs. So the consultants of HR, they started believing in redesigning. We call it as business resilience, business continuity, how to build up a business resilience center. This is the first task of that company, and they built up the task teams. When 45 to 50% of the people, when they start working at home, 50% of the people, very important people, operational people, they should be at the company. This made a wonderful combination of ambidexterity. This indicates that exploitation of the existing resources as well as exploration of the competencies which are newly required for the organization. There exactly the business theme, that means the theme of this conference tend to be very relevant, means that IT integration, architecture integration. So IT integration is not simply application of IT platforms. First of all, you need to look at self-appraisal, self-evaluation reports coming from logistics or supply chain or manufacturing or inventory management. All these sections you need to understand which are the functions we can convert into digital architecture mode, and which are the functions still we need to have the people to work out. And that is the process now happening. And the company adopted 100% digitalization process. 100% digitalization process. So the most important thing connected with a trilogy. The trilogy is called as process, people, and competence. The process, existing process, the old process to be rejuvenated by integrating new technology, new designs, and new application of IT architecture. And supply chain, logistics, inventory management, manufacturing, all these processes which are outdated. They were running with Excel sheets and Oracle and likewise. Now they're trying to integrate with SAP ERP, and the platforms integrated, and a lot of change you can see from the people to accept it. So we should not consider COVID-19 as a menace to industry. Of course, it has its impact a little bit, definitely. Some of the sectors badly affected, like leisure industry, tourism industry, hotel industry, education industry, they all totally get affected, but certain industries are still surviving. So one of these message I'm getting from this COVID-19 impact is that change models. Change models means no leadership model is going to work out. And we need to invent a new kind of leadership, crisis leadership models exactly. And we need to look at new business resilience options exactly. We need to look at new people competence. We need to integrate the business operations with the process, people, and competence that reflects a different culture, a different organization or a work culture. So when we read a lot of factors like organizational citizenship behavior, a lot of these kind of factors which turn to be irrelevant today. The most important thing for a business is surplus generation, profit maximization, and that is to be supported by the new normal. New normal means new culture we need to induce with the integration of IT architecture, IT competencies, and it to be percolated into different functionalities. Then only organization can survive. So these are the factors I would like to talk about in this short interaction. Like we need to look at challenges of virtual workplace models exactly. We need to look at the challenges as well as the opportunities to integrate that into the business. And a lot of opportunities we are getting through the digital integration aspects. So considering that aspect, I may suggest, I may try to appreciate the organizers, MDI, specifically taking up the challenges of post-COVID scenario, looking into the pre-COVID scenario, and changing operating models and IT integration. I couldn't attend the first sessions, which is very high relevant, connected with digital banking, digital fintech, risk management, and compliances in the digital era, and likewise, right? I'm doing that project exactly. How far the risk is associated with dealing with sulfuric acid is to be done by a human being itself, or is to be done by a technology, can be replaced or not. Many tasks we cannot do that. But in that digital era, how the risk can be reduced or risk can be minimized enough to get operational efficiency. These are all the things exactly, the themes coming out of it, digital architecture. I do believe that the track developed by the conference committee is absolutely amazing, connected to the enterprise architecture and information management and financial enterprises connecting to digital era, especially into human resource and OB and digital area where virtual workspace and remote working spaces are coming into the picture, and changes in the operating models totally changing. You can see the Western scenario. Of course, we can take into the messages from Western models to Indian scenario where operating models are changing, absolutely changing. So here people may lose the job, or people have to look into new competencies. So outdated competencies is one of the major factor going to the new business models. The new business models linking to the process, change in the process, and finally connecting to the risk aversion. So people, competence, technology, all these things are connected to a culture, and the team has built up amazingly towards that. And I'm wishing that the papers come out of these conferences will be really beneficial to the stakeholders. And some of the papers really can take an example of disruption and realignment in global supply chains and likewise, right? So these kind of areas definitely can have a bigger contribution to this conference and to the stakeholders. And thank you for this, a short interaction with all of you. And my role is just to limit by 10 minutes to interact with you. I'll be coming back in different occasions with Souvik and likewise Dr. Souvik, and he's my good friend. And he invited me over there to MDI. So I feel that the conference has produced the best of papers, contributions, and it will be really contributing further to industrial stakeholders. Thank you so much.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you,
Dr. Dilip, for your valuable thoughts on new business changes during this pandemic. It's really, I think the listeners or attendees will get great benefited from these thoughts. Thank you very much for your thoughts. Now over to Dr. Souvik Banerjee for continuation
thank you,
of the
Dr.
program.
Vikramjit. So after some business models in a post-COVID scenario in a developed world, we just came across emerging economy, how the business model is changing, right? So enriching experience from there, from Africa. Now, I have the privilege of introducing our respected directors. Professor Dr. Atmanand is a renowned economist, administrator, and academician, currently working as director of MDI Murshidabad. He has worked as director additional charge of MDI Gurgaon. He is also the independent director of Central Bank of India and PTC India Limited, and was also independent director of CEL. Dr. Atmanand's experience in teaching, research, and consultancy is of more than 34 years. He is one of the longest serving deans of India. He has taken many new initiatives like the launch of the MDI School of Energy Management, Journal of IMT Ghaziabad, and established MDIM, to name a few. He has contributed to various national responsibilities as member of the State Finance Commission, Government of Bihar, Planning Commission, Government of India, as a member of Ad hoc Task Force, that is ATF, Cabinet Secretary at Government of India, then member of Review Committee, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, member of Advisory Committee, Ministry of Power, Government of India. Dr. Atmanand has authored 16 books and published more than 100 research papers in refereed national and international journals. He has undertaken several consulting assignments in area of energy, insurance, infrastructure projects, social development, leadership, etc. He specializes in public enterprise management, management of energy and environment, power, oil and gas, steel, financing, infrastructure projects, project finance, economic and business environment, public policy and management. His contribution of many years has been recognized in the forms of awards like Rashtriya Gaurav Award for his excellence and contribution in the nation building, Indian Achievers Award for Corporate Leadership 2010, Economic Development Award for Excellence in Higher Education 2011, Exemplary Global Leadership Award 2010, and appreciation letters from various departments, like the Ministry of Power, Government of India, and CEL. Dr. Atmanand's vision is to have people around him who are thinkers and doers in one person. He spreads the policy of connect, nurture, and grow, the CNG. With these words, I request our respected director to give his address.
Thank you very much, Professor Souvik, for your kind words. First of all, I am delighted to appreciate the hard work, commitment, and dedication made by the conference chairs, Dr. Souvik Banerjee and Dr. Bikramjit Paul. Their relentless effort has made this event happen. They exemplify the merit possessed by MDIM faculty. I also appreciate all my faculty colleagues and administrative staff for the continuous effort for this event. Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Jayawant Singh, Professor, Southampton Business School, University of Southampton, United Kingdom. Honorable Guest of Honor, Dr. Dilip Kumar, Professor, Africa Business School, Polytechnic University, Morocco. Esteemed professors and researchers from across the world, colleagues from the industry and academia, my faculty and non-faculty colleagues. I would like to start by congratulating each and every one of you on our great achievement. It is because of the commitment and hard work of you all that we have successfully completed the online conference of MDIM, that is ICBIT 2020. I also thank all the keynote speakers who have enlightened the conference with their valuable thoughts during these 2 days. ICBIT 2020 had in total 7 tracks. There were paper presenters from renowned academic institutions from across the country, as well as countries like Bangladesh, Nepal, United States. It is a matter of satisfaction that there were intellectually stimulating discussions in the technical sessions, and well-known scholars in their fields acted as technical session chairs. There were 4 keynote speakers who are stalwarts in their own field, and they provided some really thought-provoking points on a very important topic. ICBIT 2020 saw representations from all the continents, namely Asia, Australia, Europe, Africa, as well as United States of America. All activities were graced by renowned academicians and well-known corporate professionals. This conference also exemplifies how technology is going to shape the knowledge creation as well as knowledge dissemination in the days to come. Our all great experts from the different fields, the chief guest, honorable guests, and keynote speakers, and other professors and scholars, through their papers, have been able to analyze the synthesis, the relationship of this theme of the conference, that is business, IT, and enterprise architecture, pre-COVID-19 and post-COVID-19. And I think all the areas of the sectors, be it finance, be it marketing, be it IT, be it operations, supply chain management, sales, and product development, all the sectors, all the areas of the economy have been covered during this conference. And the recommendations and the suggestions of the scholars and the professors through their papers presented during these sessions should be a great policy-based recommendations for the government. And I hope once these papers are going to be published and the publications, if that is being circulated to the government, to the policymaker, decision makers, and I hope and trust that they will be immensely benefited by your suggestions and recommendations. I would like to conclude with the following quotes from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. As you are all aware that the first word of Bhagavad Gita is dharma, dharma kshetre kurukshetra. The last word of Bhagavad Gita, where the Bhagavad Gita ends, is the mam. So I find that when I add the last word mama with the first word of Bhagavad Gita, the sentence that becomes is mama dharma. That is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. That is the essence of life. And that is the meaning of Bhagavad Gita. And that gives us a lot of strength and energy and inspiration to fight back this COVID-19 pandemic. The meaning of Mama Dharma is my responsibility. My responsibility towards myself, towards my family, towards my organizations, towards my nation, towards my society, towards the planet and the universe, and to the God. And then asking the question, and that is the meaning of Mama Dharma. Am I contributing more than what I get? Am I growing better and better, day by day, better and better, and helping others in their growth process? That is the meaning of Mama Dharma. And this Mama Dharma is well connected with the last sloka of Bhagavad Gita, which was uttered by Sanjay to Dhritarashtra when the Mahabharata was over. And the message which is being conveyed through the last sloka of Bhagavad Gita is very, very important. And that is, Yatra Yogeshwaraha Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shri Vijayor Bhutir Dhruva Nitirmam. Then Sanjay told Dhritarashtra, and that is the message of the Bhagavad Gita to all corporate sector and all managers and politicians of the world, that wherever there is a leader like Krishna and performers like Arjun, the victory, prosperity, and happiness are bound to be there. There is no doubt about it. So the theme of this international conference, designed by our conference chairs, Dr. Souvik Banerjee and Dr. Bikramjit Pal, is very, very true, has come out a great success. And I request all my conference chairs, Dr. Souvik and Dr. Bikramjit, to take the advantage of these papers being published by a great publisher, so that the message conveyed through this conference should go to the entire world. We at MDIM strive hard, work hard towards achieving our motto, and that is Uttishta Jagrat Prapya Varani Vodhat. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. All the best. Now,
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I declare the conference officially closed. Over to Dr. Souvik.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for your inspiring words as always. So, thanks a lot. So, with this, I give it over to Dr. Bikramjit Pal for the further proceedings.
Thank you, Dr. Souvik. Now, we request Professor Devashish Chanda, Dean Academics, MDI Murshidabad, to address the gathering.
Honorable Director, sir, our esteemed guests, the conference chairs, Professor Souvik Banerjee and Professor Bikramjit Pal, all our esteemed participants, including faculty members from all across, and researchers, as well as my esteemed colleagues from MDI Murshidabad. It is indeed a matter of great privilege for me to be present in this very significant occasion. I say it's very significant because this event or this occurrence over the last couple of days has been a path-breaking occurrence in the annals of the history of MDI Murshidabad. The reason I call it path-breaking is because this is the first online conference, the first of its kind in the annals of our history. And we all know that it is sometimes becomes an insurmountable challenge to get it right the first time. But on behalf of our great institute, our great brand. I'm indeed extremely proud today that this path breaking event is indeed an event of great success. And I congratulate the conference chairs and all participants and all my colleagues for achieving this. So, over the last couple of days, we have witnessed our keynote speakers delivering their pearls of wisdom to audiences, and I'm indeed very grateful to them as well. So I understand all participants, as well as our great institute, has benefited from the great cross-pollination of knowledge. And it is through cross-pollination of knowledge that we all value add. So I would not extend my address anymore, and I would conclude by again congratulating the entire fraternity and all the stakeholders who went on and contributed to making this event a great success. Thank you very much. I wish you all success in your future endeavors and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank
Over
you, sir.
to the conference.
Thank you, sir.
chairs.
Thank you, sir, for your kind and inspiring and motivating words. Thank you very much. Now I request our Dean Continuing Education to address the gathering. Professor Dr. Biranchi Naranswar. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Vikramjit. And good evening, Dr. Singh, our directors are Professor Dr. Atmanand, and my faculty and non-faculty colleagues, and my dear students, participants, those who have attended this particular conference. I think it is a great contribution to the existing literature when it comes to ICBIT 2020. And it has been told that we have received around 120 papers, and out of that, 79 papers who have been shortlisted, and they are eligible to present in this particular conference. And out of that, there are 75 research papers and 4 cases were there. And I can understand that last 3 days, we're talking about different kind of platform which is required to deliver a particular service to the customers. And in this conference, from 25th September to 26th September, I was attending few sessions from marketing and HR. It was really an excellent paper, those who have been presented across the globe. As you know that we are by 2023, India will be having around 650 million online customers. And we are moving towards digitalization, and the need of the hour is providing something seamless to our customers, whether it is technology oriented, whether it is technology enabled, but services should be delivered to the customers in no time. That is the mantra of success for today's marketers. So by keeping in view that one, this particular topic of ICBIT, the theme of the conference is quite relevant. And I must appreciate both the persons, from both the professors of ours. They have taken the nice initiative to bring the thought of the time after this post COVID era, and the things are going to be not normal. It will be a new abnormal rather. So with this background, this program, I mean, this particular conference has been designed, And you know that Indian economy is so large in sense that we are having around 3.2 trillion US dollar when it comes to nominal GDP. And when it comes to PPP in terms of GDP, we are having around 11.3 trillion US dollar. So the economy is so big, right? And in online, when you talk about online population, India is the second largest population in terms of online or internet penetration after China. So there is a great road ahead for Indian buyers, Indian stakeholders to look forward. So let's uh, through the digital transformation, and I'm sure that the insight, the findings, the suggestions which has come out of this particular conference is going to be a great help to the practitioners and also to the researchers, those who are going to do the research in the coming time. And I'm very happy to see that we have participants across the globe, those who have participated in the particular conference. And we at MDIM always promise to deliver to the best to the society at large. And with this, I once again thankful to our honorable director for his continuous guidance and mentorship. And at the same time, I also thankful to both the professors at MDIM, Professor Dr. Bikramjit and Dr. Sobik Banerjee, for taking such a nice initiative to put forth, this international conference during this pandemic time, right? So with this, I am concluding my speech, and I wish all the participants all the very best and have a healthy life ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Swar, for such kind and motivating words. Thank you very much. Now over to Dr. Sobik Banerjee to continue the proceedings.
Thank you, Dr. Vikramjit. Now we'll come to the last part of the valedictory ceremony, and the most anticipated part from the paper presenter's perspective will announce the best papers track-wise. So first I will announce the marketing in digital era, that track, and the best paper in that track goes to Dr. Anuva. Dr. Anuva is from Department of Commerce, Shivaji College, Delhi. And the paper title is Consumer Perceptual Mapping Towards Insurance Plans, the Marketing Analytics Approach. Right? So please join in congratulating Dr. Anuva. Congratulations, Madam, Dr. Anuva. Next comes the finance in digital era. In this track, we have two winners. The first person who has won is Nikunj Agarwal. She is a research scholar with Faculty of Management Studies, that is FMS, University of Delhi. And her paper title is Women and Wealth in India, a study of financial literacy, attitude, behavior, and its impact on financial well-being. Okay, so congratulations, Nikunj. So we congratulate you wholeheartedly. Now, second paper, which is adjudged as the best paper, is the paper by Shreya Lahiri. Shreya Lahiri is a research scholar with Department of Economics and Finance, BITS Pilani, Hyderabad campus. And her paper is titled ICT Adoption and Insurance Uptake in India. So congratulations, Shreya, for your wonderful achievement. Now comes the operations in digital era track. In that track, the best paper that is being adjudged as the best paper is the paper by Dr. Preeti Sharma and Kartikeya Nigam from IMT Hyderabad. And the paper title is Use of Big Data Analytics in Operations Management, a review using text analytics. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Preeti and Kartikeya Nigam from IMT Hyderabad. for the best paper in operations in digital era. Now over to Dr. Bikramjit to announce the next set of best papers in other tracks. Over to Dr.
Well,
Bikramjit.
thank you, Dr. Sobik. Well, the next track is business innovation in post-COVID. And I want to congratulate two people for this. They have the same paper, that is Ashwira Samanta and Sonik Saurabh, our ex-student of MDIM in the 1820 batch. And the topic is telemedicine industry post-COVID, challenging in connecting masses with health tech. The next track is of enterprise architecture and information management in digital era. And the best paper goes to Sara Tasneem, Assistant Professor, Dhaka School of Economics, University of Dhaka. And the track is COVID-19 and digital enterprises, a model for enterprise development with new architecture. Congrats, Sara Tasneem, for getting the best paper in this track. Our next track is HR and OB in digital era. There are two winners for this particular track. The first one is Dr. Musarraf Sahin and Dr. Namrata Chatterjee, Assistant Professor, IBS Hyderabad. And their topic is recruitment metrics to measure efficiency of recruitment sources. The next winner of this particular HR and OB track in digital area is Dr. Mandira De and Madhumita Roy. Faculty member, Dr. Mandira De, faculty member, St. Xavier's University, Kolkata, and Madhumita Roy, research scholar, Department of Business Administration, Brainware University. Their topic is organizational citizenship behavior, a step towards effective talent management system in banking sector. And the last track is cases. The winner of this particular cases track is Professor Viranchi Narayan Swar, Professor Marketing, MDIM, and his track is Tata Tea Jagore campaign. Congratulations, sir, for such a nice presentation. Thank you.
Congratulations to all the
winners.
All the winners.
Yes, congratulations to all the winners. You deserve the best. You are the best.
Yes, Dr. Pal. So with this we come to the end of the valedictory ceremony, and the certificates will be sent to the respective authors in their email ID. Right? It will send the soft copy of the certificate shortly. So with this, we are very thankful to all the participants, whether they are in the form of presenters, other delegates, track chairs, keynote speakers, and the guest, whether in the inauguration ceremony as well as in the valedictory ceremony. We are thankful to all of them for the successful completion of ICBIT 2020, the very first edition of ICBIT, and we hope your support will continue. You will bestow your blessings. You will continue to give your blessings and support to us in the days to come. That is 2021 edition of ICBIT, right? With these words, I thank everybody. I thank our respected director, sir. I thank our Dean Academic. I thank our Dean Continuing Education, Chief Guest of this valedictory ceremony, Dr. Jayavant Singh from Southampton University, and the guest of honor, Dr. Dilip. So with this, we close the valedictory ceremony. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Hope to see you in 2021. Sorry, 2021. ICBIT 2021. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.